3, 2, 1, go. Welcome to Grounds After Rounds.
5, 4, 3.5, 3 and
17. Blue.
Niner, red 7. Red
Call him
7.
from a walkie-talkie.
What is red 7?
What's red 7?
Hot
route. What did I get him on? I got him. Welcome, folks, back to Grounds After Rounds. Here we are on the creek.
All up in the creek.
Nincompoops as usual. Nitty muffin. You're not
Cotton-headed
a
nitty muffin,
You're not,
yeah.
you're not a cotton-headed nitty muffin. Man, that was like 3-4 references in a row. Anyway,
Yeah.
it's what's the name of the song? It's not Arcade Fire or not Arctic Monkeys. It is Arcade Fire. Maybe it's Arcade. I can't remember. But it's Will Ferrell sings it in Stranger Than Fiction. Did you ever see that movie?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's the only song he knows how to play on the guitar.
Oh no,
and
that's
he plays it for Maggie Gyllenhaal.
Yeah.
It's a Kinks song.
Yeah.
Um,
Is it Kings?
yeah, it was originally a Kinks song.
Really?
And then
know
somebody
that.
else, then they cover it. I think
Yeah.
Arcade Fire covers it, but it was the Arcade Fire version. It's awesome. I was like, all right, I will give a 15-second bonus credit for each round to anyone who can name the movie that this song is from. And I think it was a 7 a.m. class that I threw that out.
Mm-hmm.
And you could see like their heads were like searching and like,
Yeah.
and then I'm like, it's Will Ferrell. He's playing guitar. No, he's playing it for Maggie Gyllenhaal. No, and he's a tax auditor, and she's a baker. And it was,
Get bent, tax man.
Then he goes, Step Brothers. I think it was 7 a.m. because Juliana goes, Step Brothers. I'm like, not even close.
People just yelling out Will Ferrell movies now. Get hard.
Whoa, no. Yeah, it was. I love that movie, and the whole I thought Juliana would get it because she was talking about like things being meta, and you want to talk
Right.
about a meta movie like
Yeah.
that movie.
That is one.
Yeah, it's very aware of itself, and
Yeah.
it's awesome. And I love at the end that they how disappointed Dustin Hoffman's character is
Yeah.
that Emma Thompson's character does not kill off
Does not actually
Harold Crick in
die,
the end.
yeah.
And
Spoiler alert.
right, well, dude,
It's been
you
out
know,
for like a
yeah,
decade.
We've
Yeah.
well exceeded my statute
I
of
say, yeah.
limitations in spoiling of movies.
Several times over.
But they like that Dustin Hoffman is so committed to his profession
Yeah.
as a literary professor
Yeah.
that he would be willing to sacrifice Harold Crick's life. But in a sense,
For the
and he's
sake
for the
of-
sake of the good story. And he even says that. He says,
Yeah.
we all die.
Yeah.
So I mean, why not die
with
in
purpose,
that you
essentially.
could be a writer who is probably one of the greatest writers of the 20th and 21st century, and it is quite possibly her greatest book ever. You could die. And then, but in a sense, like what in that moment that Dustin Hoffman as the professor, and I forget his name now, what he's actually saying is so ironic because Will Ferrell is not dying. Like he's not really dying. It's Harold Crick, the character. So in a sense, nobody's actually dying,
Right.
but he's right. Like we all die. And this
Yeah.
is the epic conflict that Achilles faces in the Iliad, that he could go off to war, the greatest war that will ever be fought, that 3,000 years later, we are still talking about it. And the we being, I mean, like you don't
Right.
talk about the Iliad every day, but I do.
Yeah.
That people are still
I think about
talking
Brad Pitt
about
every day.
it. Well, right? Like they made, I mean, it's one of the worst adaptations of the book ever, of the poem ever.
It's fun to watch,
But it's
very
such a
like-
great movie because
Yeah.
it's, I mean, and Orlando Bloom, and I mean,
Yeah.
what's his face?
Eric Bana.
Eric Bana plays Hector, which I think actually of all the things, Eric Bana's portrayal of Hector is the best.
Really?
Like he captures. So they do certain things, and what's his face is Agamemnon is
He's so
amazing. He's
good.
so like, you are such an asshole.
Yeah.
Like he does play that character because Agamemnon is a buffoon,
Yeah.
but he's also a badass.
Yeah.
And so that guy who that actor, I can't think of his name.
He was in Dodgeball.
Yes. No, you're thinking of another guy. No, he wasn't in Dodgeball.
Oh no, that wasn't.
Yeah.
No,
I know Rip Torn.
Rip Torn
is in
Yeah,
Dodgeball,
yeah,
but he does.
They're
He's
similar.
like
Yeah.
he's kind of the more serious Rip Torn.
Right. Yeah.
That's a great.
Yeah, he's a great actor.
So anyway, that conflict is Achilles can go off to the war, to the Trojan War, and die young, but be remembered forever. His name will live on forever, and it has. Or he could stay home, live a most amazing life, and he will be loved, and he will love, and he'll know what love is, and he will be remembered by his children's children's children, and then his name will be forgotten like everybody else throughout time. And he chooses to go and fight. And right, so the illusion, and this is Homer's commentary on the fleeting glory of war. The illusion is that we all buy into is that like we will be remembered, but there's only one Achilles.
Yeah.
Right. Like there's been trillions of people throughout time. We only remember one of them.
Yeah.
You're not him.
This is why, like, I feel like if I ever did join the military, and I would just constantly remind people, like, hey man, isn't it amazing I'm at this war right now? And I would just like pass that down. So eventually people were like, hey, remember that guy?
Eric?
Remember Eric?
Eric the Red.
I was gonna stay home and stay safe, but instead I'm doing this. How ballsy am I? Tell your friends.
There's this guy, he's actually a mathematician. He's a PhD mathematician, but he wrote like a series of short stories and put it into a compilation. I can't remember the name of it right now. I have it. I think it's in the room over there.
It must have been
in the
good.
Library. No, it's awesome. It is. I can't remember the name of it, but what it is he's based all the short stories on the Iliad and the Odyssey. So it's sort of, it's the lost books of the Odyssey. That's it. That's what it's called. The lost books of the Odyssey. Or maybe the lost books of the Iliad, Odyssey. And so one of them is this like, okay, well, what if Odysseus really wasn't Odysseus, but just this like kind of asshole who told really good stories.
Right.
And so he's told these stories so many times over and basically they're lies that they got ahead of him, that by the time he got home, his story had surpassed his own greatness. And now he had to live up to them. And he like basically spends the rest of his life in like imposter syndrome.
Right.
And it was, so like the idea that the story itself surpasses the individual. Yeah. It's kind of like what you just did. Yeah. There. Like that's the move.
All right. Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't know how we got onto that. Oh, Stranger Than Fiction, meta, the idea that Harold Crick living at the end, though emotionally made us all feel really good, in a sense was a little bit of a cop-out, and the loser's path, losers, it was a little cold, dark, but that he, it's an amazing movie. Yeah, like it's so such good. A cool concept, and I actually taught
Will Ferrell has so many great movies, and Stranger Than Fiction needs to be up there, but you don't think because it's not
a comedy. It's not, but he plays it so well and comedic, but he's such the dopey kind of like loser who in the end wins because he's so true. Like he does everything. I mean, he's a tax auditor, which is the worst job ever. Nobody likes you. And what you do in the end is thankless. You're taking people's money. Nobody ever gets money back, right? For the government to be misused and wasted. So like he lives a thankless life in a thankless apartment with a thankless existence, and yet he is the most noble and true and moral of all of them. And that's what shines through. You love him, and that's why him dying in the end, because he gets hit by the bus to save that little kid on the bike, is the epic moment that Emma Thompson's character punts on, because she can't kill an actual human being. It's amazing. Like it's an amazing story, and that's what Dustin Hoffman's character sees, and he's like, like I get it. It's the epic conflict, and you chose the human option, not the God option.
So I guess the question would be, why did Harold Crick choose the human option,
Love.
not the God option?
Love. I mean, that's the Matrix theme too of,
Yeah.
in the end, that's what made that version of Neo different, was love. That's the scene in The Architect, you know. And again, folks, if you haven't seen Matrix Revolutions, Revolutions, it's the second one.
I just remember Rage Against the Machine and the closing credits.
Such a great album, such a great soundtrack.
Yeah.
But yeah, that he, in previous versions, the remainder, or the oddity, whatever you call him, developed an attachment to the race, to the species, in a general sense, whereas this version of Neo has manifested in a more specific sense, vis-a-vis love, is what the Architect says, and then it flashes up the picture of Trinity. And so in the end, when he chooses, he has to choose to return to the source, and thus destroy Zion, pick 13 women, 6 men, and him, and repopulate, you know, Zion with them. He chooses no and returns because he believes, he has hope that he will be able to save Trinity in the name of love. And it's what all the machines who want the war to end hope that he will do. Yeah. And he does, and he wins in the end.
Now with this new one coming out, I wonder what
I know. I was reading about it. I wonder what they're going to do.
I want to go back and watch them now to see.
But that's his why. That's Crick's, and that's a trope. It's a good trope. It's a standard. Love is a very and that's, again, like when Neo has the conversation with the one programmer, Sanjay or whatever, I think that's his name, in the subway, the train man, his liminal world, that love, he says, well, love is a human emotion. He says, no, love is what's he say? Love is a word, and that word is associated with a manifestation of a connection, I think is, and I'm paraphrasing that, but I say we just call it love because we think it's ours, but why couldn't love be
sandwich?
Yeah, like why couldn't it be? Isn't that what even though like dogs look at us and think food, right? Like it's a positive reinforcement that is initiated by the protection and sustenance and the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. But isn't that what we call love in our presupposed version of some higher intelligence? But really it just comes down to, I feel safe, I feel protected, I feel seen, I feel connected with you. And so I then make that transition into calling it love. But I mean, there's a multitude of versions of that. So why can't animals feel that?
I love you. I love this pizza.
Yeah.
I love lamp.
I love lamp.
Right.
So that's what
that's
even
nice.
That conversation suggests in the idea. So yes, Harold, I would say, I see where you're going. I would say Harold Crick's why is his love of Maggie Gyllenhaal's character, but also his love of life.
Yeah.
Like he realizes he loves living, even when that living from the outside looks banal, that it just looks absolutely mundane when it's not. I mean, he loves his job. He loves having the opportunity to meet all these different people and get into their businesses and see what they do. I mean, he gets to audit a baker, a bicycle maker, like all kinds of things. And
it's not like a nursery rhyme. You were going
I
with
was
that.
trying to think of a different. I couldn't go a third. I always miss the third. So I'll never be a poet, my friend.
But your feet show it. They're long fellers.
It's so good. God dang, you're fast. That was fun. That was a little nerd riff. All right, cool.
Yeah, there you go.
So wise, is that where you were going?
That's where I was going.
I know. It was good.
Yeah,
that was really good.
I know you knew you know. He doesn't know we know.
Files are in the computer.
Oh yeah. So instead of continually dissecting Harold Crick, we'll dissect
somebody else who does CrossFit.
What?
I bet you Harold Crick would have done CrossFit.
Totally would have done CrossFit. He would have tried it.
He would have been a 6 a.m.er. Maybe he'd be a 515er, I think. Because I don't think he'd be.
I feel like as regimented as he was, he'd be a 5 a.m.er.
Yeah. Good point. Because he's not looking to like really talk at the beginning, but afterwards he would, he and Batista would get along.
Yeah.
In the back corner there.
But yeah, so what's the why? And so I hit up a few folks just yesterday because I had this idea.
That's a great idea. I like it.
And everyone came back. Like I said,
that's a lot of printed paper.
It didn't even print front to back. That's what I was running behind today. Is like, why is this printer not working? I only use it like once every 6 months.
I think it's a lot. Like that's very cool that you got that fast and voluminous of a response.
Yeah, they're awesome.
In less than 24 hours. I love it.
Yeah,
I love our people. People are awesome.
So of all the people I hit, this will have to be a 2-parter most likely, and maybe even like a continuing thread. So if you've got a why that you would like to share, please email us at Eric@Fairwinds or Jack@Fairwinds.com.
Don't email me, I'll lose it. Eric at Fairwinds. Yeah, Eric at Fairwinds CrossFit.
What's amazing is I won't lose it because I don't delete anything.
So I stopped deleting. I actually about 4 years ago, I don't know.
Yeah.
As I was getting out of the Navy and leaving the academy, I have not deleted a single email from that Jack at Fairwinds. Or I don't delete any of them.
Because it's crazy. Like there's a lot of times I'll go back and find something that I needed.
Well, the way Google is structured, that makes no sense to like go through the effort like Outlook to file things.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? The way Google search structure works. Just leave it in your inbox. Yeah. Who cares? You actually. It's like a growing. You told me that. And it's like a growing.
It's like a growing Google search.
Yeah. It made my heart kind of like palpitate a little bit, and I was a little nervous. So I tried it, and I have like probably over 9,000 emails in that inbox. Now I will say I can't have unread ones. I do have to clear that number. The snooze function and the delay send function is the godsend of. So what I'll do is even if I open something and I know I need to come back to it, I'll delay send it for 3 days. So then it shows back up at the top of my inbox.
Cool. Yeah.
And now I've got it.
That's good. I've never done that. That'd be good. I could use that for a few things.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome.
2 times. I'll only delay send something 2 times. If after the second time I don't act on it.
It's like we said, like when you move stuff from from a storage bin from one place to another, it's like you move it 2 times.
3rd time, you're out.
Yeah. Obviously I don't need it.
And that's not a function of the person asking. That's a function of me, that if I'm not going to respond on it, then I need some sort of external stimulation. So if somebody sends me an email and I'm like, oh, I should act on it, but I'm not going to be able to yet. If I don't act on it immediately, it gets a delay send. If I still don't act on it, it gets one more delay send. At that point, I'm like, sorry, man. And what I should really do is on that 3rd one, a quick little, hey, I'm not going to be able to act on this. If this is really important to you, you need to come talk to me in person.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like that. And I owe the people that. I'm working on it, folks. I'll get back. I'll work. I'll keep working on it.
Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah. Good.
And why?
Awesome.
Why would that be important? That's important because we're not in the fitness business. We're in the relationship business.
True.
And the reality is ghosting somebody on email, text, or whatever, and never responding to them, even though you saw it, it's unfair. It's disrespectful of the relationship. I respect people too much to just disappear. And so that is a bad habit that I think the mediums that we use, the technology that we use allow us to get away with. And you wouldn't do that in person to somebody most of the time. Most people wouldn't.
Yeah.
Some people would.
They would.
And so that's something that I'm aware of. And I think that's my why, is because I want to be a better steward of those relationships. And that's important to me.
Yeah.
And so at 44, almost 45 years old, I'm not even quite halfway. So I'm starting to learn that. Why not make the second half of this little fiasco of my life better than the first half by trying
little odyssey
of life. Maybe learn that in the first half. And
people won't remember your name if you don't text them back.
I think
no, they won't remember that.
They actually will, because because it's a negative association.
Yeah,
We always remember the negative more than the positive.
And again, Do you want friends or do you want glory?
Oof. Oof. That's a whole nother episode. That's a podcast. That's a blog post waiting to be written right there.
Oh,
All right.
awesome.
So that would be the why behind it. And that's always, this is the Simon Sinek moment. Know your big why. Hows and what's, they're easy to figure out. They'll figure themselves out if you know the big why. Yeah. So, but we have people that do CrossFit who come to the creek down here at Fairwinds.
Yeah.
And
I think we should lead off with our own Achilles person, Ed Murphy. I don't know why he's just really fast.
And Achilles was fast, fleet-footed. Achilles.
It was funny watching when we did Nancy on Saturday, overhead squats and running, and I remember
he chose the right weight, 75 pounds. That was a good call.
Yeah, and he came back. It was good. Like his depth was there sometimes and not. And as soon as it was funny, everyone, as soon as you slow your squats down a little bit,
you can get there.
Money, right?
Yeah. Nancy's all about slow is smooth, smooth is fast.
He came out and he hit that first run. I swear it was like a minute 33. And he kept that. Like he was able to kind of keep, like he didn't really fall, maybe a little bit, but didn't fall off much. But I think it was like the third or fourth round, maybe it was like 140 or something like that. I think it was like the fourth round. He came back from his run. I was like, you can pick up the pace now. Like that dude he's so fast.
Yeah,
so
he's
fast.
pretty quick.
So awesome. So Ed, maybe you can clarify this for me. TL/DR. So I'm not totally.
Yeah, that looks familiar.
He did a long version.
Would you want to Google it? You want me to Google it?
Sure, not a bad idea.
Acronym TLDR. Talk later, day something maybe. TL/DR abbreviation. Too long, didn't read. TLDR is an acronym that stands for too long, didn't read. TLDR is commonly used to summarize lengthy content and can signal sort of executive summary at the start of news articles or emails. The abbreviation can come off as rude, so it's best to avoid using TLDR as a response in professional settings.
So I think he was saying it as like his why is really long. So here's the abbreviated, but here's the long version if you want it.
Oh, that's exactly it. That's
exactly,
and that's because Ed works in that world. And he is a
he wasn't saying that. Mine was like
he even has like a PS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny because I was like, you're saying that, I was like, my text was like 2 sentences.
No. That's what he's offering.
He's offering is like,
this is too long. It's too long. Don't read.
Okay.
So here's the executive summary. In the military, it would be bluff. Bottom line up front. You do the bluff, then okay, if you need more, here's the the purpose, the scope, the discussion, the background, blah blah blah, all that stuff.
And in Eric's world, it would be next.
Oh look, there's my socks.
It's like, so there's this.
Get back in the car. Did you, when you guys pulled in, by the way, the other Friday, whenever I did Thursday or whatever.
Friday, Thursday.
Did you give her a little scolding because she climbed out of the car on her own when you guys paused? Because you guys got real serious, like you were like right by the car. And
when we were leaving?
No, right when you got there, right when you arrived. I don't know if like.
So sometimes she'll take her straps off.
Yeah.
And so I may have been like just saying like, baby, got to keep your straps on until we stop or something like that.
Gotcha.
Maybe that.
Whatever it was very artful. And it was like, it totally like hit the.
No, you know what I told her? I told her, like, since you were working out, I told her like, hey babe, like Jack's working out, I'm working out, like you can come, but we got to stay.
It was awesome. Like I was
just,
like, I was watching it. I'm like, that was good. That was a two kid parent pro move right there. Pre-setting the stage, setting expectations before it got too hectic and crazy.
Yeah.
And it was awesome. That was
my like, as I'm figuring all this stuff out, but it's like hey, I want you to come do these things with me, but
here's some boundaries.
Here's some ground rules.
Yeah.
So that way it's not like that way it's like just like no, don't do that.
Right.
Don't do that.
Right. She already knew, and then it was come back. Hey, remember what I said? Like, you're doing fine. Just remember, we got to stay over here because I don't want you to get hit by the barbell. And he's a psychopath, so like he'll yell at you. Like, yeah.
And it's one of those things too. Like she's really sensitive, and so like let's say she came like walking over and you're about to do a muscle up.
Yeah.
And it's like like you may have been like, oh, whoa, watch out. And like if you like raise your voice, got loud, it's just to like heads up.
Right.
She would have felt embarrassed. Like she gets that way.
Right.
And so it's cool. Like let me set the ground rules early and say, hey, here's where you can be, here's what you can do.
It was good.
Cool.
I just thought of that.
Yeah, she was great. She was great. She was awesome.
So Ed,
TLDR.
too long. Didn't read. We're going to read the whole thing.
We're going to read it. So the short version, I came because I was ready to put my training in someone else's hands, and CrossFit seemed like a well-rounded system. I stayed because it's a great group of people to work out with and consistently challenges my fitness.
So many, so much low-hanging fruit to
right?
play with right there,
right?
Especially in my hands.
Well, let's hit the long version.
Okay.
So we've got that. There's the brief. Long version. I've always been actively involved in some sort of athletic endeavor for as long as I can remember. I think I'd go crazy if I wasn't doing something. In school, it was an organized sport per season. After graduating college, I dabbled in judo and jujitsu.
That makes sense.
He is Achilles. Then triathlon for a good 5 years. I'd still hit the gym planning out my own workouts. Then kids happened. My workout buddies moved to different neighborhoods. I had.
Do you need us to explain how that happened, Ed?
When a man meets a woman, I had less time for long endurance training and less time to spend planning out my own lifting. I'd always been intrigued by CrossFit, and it was the perfect time to trust in the system and put the majority of my training in someone else's hands. Why have I stayed? The methodology seems to work. I move better and I'm stronger, but really it's more been the motivation to get in and work out with such a great group of people.
That's right.
That's right.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's, the efficacy of the methodology proves itself. The people that you do it with keeps you coming.
Yeah.
Like that's, if I were to summarize that to even shorter, buddy, that's what I would say.
Because we've said before, a year's worth of membership fees here, you could build your own pretty functional gym at home.
Yeah.
So why do people not do that? Why do more people not do that?
It's coming out in a couple weeks. I spent yesterday and wrote 3 weeks worth of blogs.
Nice.
Because I just need to get them. I need to get them in the can.
Yeah.
Because you got a lot coming up on the weekends in the next couple weeks.
Oh.
But the one of them, the idea is that the metaphor of cost, and like it's just the way you want to look at it. Like, sure, I could look at it's $2,400 a year to. So, like, if I charged you right from the get go $2,000, like $2,000, you're good for the year, right? Like whoa, I can't come up with two. So okay, I get $200 a month. Well, $200 a month, $50 a week. Could you swing $50 a week?
Yeah.
That's less than a dinner out per week.
That's almost what people spend on Starbucks a week.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's all about
almost.
like, how do you, that's the James Clear method. Like if I want to learn Russian and I look at somebody who's fluent or even can just, speak conversantly in it, that's an insurmountable task to get to. But if I chunk it into the most irreducible amount, that's his atomization. That's the Atomic Habits. That's the name of his book. But the atom idea is that it is the smallest repeatable unit, it's the smallest irreducible unit of the habit or the thing. Then there you go. And so, yeah, to say like you could in 1 year's membership buy yourself probably one of the nicest garage gyms possible. You could have an echo bike, you could have a rower, you could have a full set of plates and barbells, you could have floor mats.
Probably a nice little rack.
Yeah, that's about $2,000, $2,500.
Yeah.
There you go. It's not going to keep you coming back because Ed just explained it. Like in his why, that's what keeps him coming is the people. I would also offer the other day, somebody mentioned about like, be my mirror. I forget who said it. Which, yeah, like you could put mirrors up in that gym and now you could see yourself moving. But the second you look at the mirror, what if it's straight on? Your head's out of position in your squat. If it's to the side, your head's out of position in whatever. If it's over there, if it's whatever, like the second you're paying attention to yourself, you're no longer aware of how you're feeling when you move.
Yeah.
That's why as coaches, we watch you.
Yeah.
Because you have to be observed to continue to move well. Ed's a perfect example. For 2/5, so 40% of his time in the first 6-7 months, he was under coaching guidance. 60% of the time he was doing it by himself. He started to make gains and was doing really well. In the last 6 weeks, 8 weeks, we'll say, he has been 80% coached, 20% on his own. He is kicking ass. His improvement has gone exponentially faster.
He's
right?
feeling
Like,
good
what's
too,
the
right?
difference? What's the one variable? The programming hasn't really changed.
Mhm.
The frequency of his workouts hasn't changed. I would argue his intensity probably hasn't even really changed that much. Like, he's pretty good about pushing himself.
Yeah.
It's feedback.
Yep.
It's that immediate feedback from not just the coaching, but also from him being around everybody else.
Yep.
That's where the magic really
And
is.
that's and like between him and we'll say too, like with those overhead squats on Saturday, he didn't short his squat because he's trying to like shave the reps and go. He's going fast, and he probably doesn't realize when he's going that fast that he is shortening it up.
Yeah.
So having that eye to say, dude, depth, there it is.
Yeah.
And it's one of those like and so yeah, that extra little eye. So yeah, so his why, again, putting his fitness into someone else's hands.
Yeah.
Even like he could follow CrossFit.com. But even still, so like the workouts are being made up for him, but still he's getting the improvement of that is put into the hands of.
It's where I kind of disagree with Coop a little bit. Chris Cooper's Two Brain Business idea of like that people aren't paying for programming. I totally agree with that. And people aren't paying for you to correct their movement and cue them. I kind of disagree with that. Like he was saying 90% of what people pay for is the accountability and that you, when we all went virtual, having a virtual client, they're paying for the accountability. And I can see that to a point, but I don't know. I don't know. I think there is a component to at the price point that we exist.
Yeah.
No, like classes should be an 8 to 10, maybe as many as 12 to 1 ratio. Any more than that, the product is degraded. The experience is degraded.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll tell you at level 1 and level 2 seminars, like that's really, I mean, the best coaches in the world can't do more than 15.
That's why at those seminars, they only break you out into like 8
to 10 size groups. Yeah. And so there's something to that.
Yeah.
Like a level 4 coach, like Jason Ackerman could feasibly get a class of 20 and touch every single one of them with a cue, verbally, tactically, or visually, at least 3 times during the workout, move even the best or the most inexperienced athlete a little bit down the road. But if he does that, a 20-person class, he's going to be exhausted.
Yeah.
Like,
and he'd probably even tell you he could have.
Yeah.
It was too much.
Yeah. That's exceeded the limit of real efficacy. And so I think his why makes sense. And the manifestation of his improvement in the last 2 months with now that school was in and coming to the 5 a.m. almost 5 days a week, that truly, I've seen it. I mean, I can see the immediate difference. Yeah. You can see it in the numbers that he's putting up and just the way he's moving. And so, yeah, it's cool. He's coming up on a year. This has been, he's a beautiful experiment of former endurance guy. I did not know that he had done jujitsu, but that totally makes sense with the way he moves, his kinesthetic awareness with like 1 or 2 cues. He's very coachable.
It's funny. He's got some athleticism, and I'm wondering, like he had mentioned, he had played football. I don't know to what level, but I was like, I bet he was a wide receiver, like because he's tall, fast. Yeah. And again, that body awareness.
He moves well at extension. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like if you can get him to open his hips. So like, we're
gushing over you, buddy.
Yeah, seriously.
So awesome. He said he was thinking it'd be fun to do a year in review podcast. So yeah, it's totally. All right. Yeah, we'll get Ed on here soon. So yeah, awesome. Thanks, Ed.
That's a good one.
Good.
So we put ourselves a limit, folks, of 45 minutes. I know we burned through like 10 or 15 of that with my literary review at the beginning of.
That's so good.
But so we got a lot, and Eric has a ton here, which is awesome. So thank you for the volume. If we get through 2 more, if we get through 1 more, whatever, like this may be a multi-parter.
Yeah, it's awesome. All right, next up, Lily, which has been awesome. Lily's been hitting some of the evenings because we're scheduled too. So I get a little mix.
She's when
people mix it up.
I do too, and it's almost like, thanks for sharing you about with us. Like that's right. There's a very cool, I like athletes who have that they enjoy going to multiple classes. Yeah. Because there are some that don't. Like I have illusions of coming to 5:15 tonight. Yeah. But dude, so last night it's like 6:55, right? Dinner's cleaned up, everything's away. I am done. I mean, I can barely keep my eyes open, and I'm like, I'm going upstairs. So I go upstairs, I brush my teeth, and Nicole's like, I can hear downstairs, like, when you guys don't lock the door when you come back in, Matthew or Josh will be at baseball, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, who are you talking to? Where are they going? And I can hear Andrew getting ready to go with the keys jingling. I'm like, and she goes, you're going to CrossFit. I'm like, oh my God. I felt nauseous for you. Like, I was like, oh my God, how is he going to coach that class at 7:15? I was asleep by 7:20. I mean, like, I was out cold.
There are times as I'm like finishing up 6:15, it's like, can I make another hour? I can make another hour.
Oh,
I'll tell you that. Yeah.
So anyway,
But that class, Andrew and Henry together will pull every ounce of energy.
oh,
patience you
I
have
can believe
in
it.
a good way. Like,
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
fun
yeah,
in a
yeah,
good
yeah,
way.
yeah.
They're awesome together.
So anyway,
Lily,
thank you,
so,
Lily,
yeah.
for spreading the joy around in the different
Yeah,
classes.
it's
'Cause
awesome.
She is a pleasure. to
Yeah,
coach.
yeah. She first tried. So sorry, I will read as Lily. I can't do it. I first tried CrossFit back in 2011. Whoa, that's a while ago. As part of my cross training for water polo, competing at an elite level meant attempts to be as well-rounded as possible. Coming from a team background and loving to push myself with the motivation of others, it felt natural to seek out a CrossFit place after viewing working out as my job. Finally, I could have some fun with it. Individual goals and plentiful scaling options make everyone feel super capable and strong every day. Everywhere I've moved, joining a box has been the first thing I've done. It immediately introduces me to an awesome community, fits the workout style I like, and holds me accountable with schedules.
She's not British.
Schedules. I could work out alone, but I never want to. Thanks for creating such a fantastic environment. It's been such a great first few months. Proud to be a member. Smiley face.
I think I knew that she'd been at it for almost 10 years, but I don't think I knew that.
Yeah.
And now that totally makes sense too.
Yeah.
As an athlete, as a coach, the type of athlete that Lily is, that I think that also defines what makes her so coachable and such a pleasure to coach.
Yeah.
Is she throws out, this is what I'm looking for. This is why I want it. This is what I expect. It's never this is what I know I can do and can't do.
Yeah.
It's this is what I've experienced in the past.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I didn't like about it. This is what I would like to feel, accomplish, blah, blah, blah. Like, she offers perspective on sort of psychosocial, emotional goals and sort of like categories, not I want specific, like, whatever. And so as a coach, that is such a wonderful like offering of like, oh, okay, because then it's a conversation about, hey, okay, so you said you want to this scale, if done well, or this modification, if done well, will feel like this. How's that land? Love it. I'm gonna do it. No, that's not what I'm feeling today. What else you got for me? Right? Like, it's a very dynamic and collaborative engagement. And then in the end, if it's like, I don't know, are you willing to try? Yes. Like, always will be like, yes, I'll give it a shot. Yes, let me try it. And then in the middle, if it's like, oh, that ain't working, she'll like, no problem, and just scrapping it and going with something else and not feeling like, oh, I'm a loser. Like, there's none of that ever. I don't know what's going on up here.
Yeah.
And maybe that's an awesome journey she's on. But as far as the manifestation outwardly or externally, it is like always a growth mindset, always willing to play, always willing to try. And then just smiles and is happy and is supportive and like cheers everybody on. So
yeah, she came in yesterday and said after like Wednesday, I think a lot of people with their good mornings and setups, like a lot of people's backs were blown up a little bit.
Yeah.
And then she said she went on a long bike ride, and then she like sat in a chair for hours. She said, so her back's been like she's been feeling that. So she came in yesterday, like, yeah, my back's not feeling great. She goes, I don't know about deadlifts. Maybe it's gonna be like really like even lighter than light today.
Yeah.
And we're playing. I was like, well, she came in. She's like, I don't know if I should deadlift, but I'm here.
Did she run?
She's gonna figure this out. So she ran.
Oh, wow.
She
good.
ran.
Good for her.
And then the deadlifts, I said, what if we just put you up on 45-pound plates and then just shorten the range of motion? And that was money for her the whole way.
Good.
But it was like 100% like, let's try this. And if that doesn't work, like, how's it go? And
I was brainstorming. I was thinking kettlebell swings could have worked really well yesterday too. When I did it, I did it all unbroken, I was like, ooh, light Russian swings would have felt very similar to those deadlifts.
That was gonna be my next step
move.
too. I was like, let me hit this first because we keep that there, and then the swings. Not only is like the weight coming out from the swing, so
that reduced that. That's an Ellen move that you picked up and have made your own that I always forget about. So that's a really good, like such a good call.
Nice. Yeah. But
that's better than
she
the
was
kettlebell
great.
swings.
But yeah, 100%. Like she comes in and it's like, I love because when you've been doing this for so long, and I didn't know that she's been doing this for long, but she doesn't act like she's been doing it. She doesn't come in acting like she already knows.
That's what I mean. That's a testament to her coachability.
Yeah.
And I think, and then it speaks to her why she's doing it. That she knows enough about how she'll stay committed to it, how it'll keep her consistent, how it's fun, is that it's that team environment.
Yeah.
And a coach is a part of that team. The coach doesn't run the team. The coach guides the team, herds the team. So yeah, like
you believe in the team.
Yeah. God, when Nate ripped that down, I wanted, but it's such a good move. Again, so I won't talk about, I'm not talking about this.
But the show needed like an antagonist, right?
Yeah, am I outside of my
I don't know.
Are we inside
I feel like it's been like a month now, right?
All right. It's a TV show. It's not a movie.
Yeah.
So like, again, like, and it's serialized.
Yeah.
So like, you got to keep up to date.
Yeah.
But yeah. So did you see, I mean, we all saw his change coming with the change in the hair and the whatever.
Yeah.
But like, did you know when it happened? Did you know when Ted had alienated him and made him feel,
when Roy came on as a coach, like you saw, he made that look.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that being like,
oh, that's weird. But did you pay any attention to it? And so I read a review of this of like, I didn't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, I bet you most people saw him like, oh, okay, whatever. But then we all got wrapped up into the happiness, and we were watching, what's his face? The other guy, the player, the
Roy.
No, the player. My God.
Oh, Sam.
Yeah. Like we were all wrapped up in Sam and a good feeling, and it ended well, and he stayed with, the team and blah, 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 blah. Like, and like all of that. Meanwhile, here's this guy descending more and more and more into a mental health issue.
Yeah.
And none of us paid attention to it. And so the narrative did that on purpose.
Yeah.
I think this is the reviewer that I read to remind us that's how it happens.
Yeah.
Because we choose not to see it. And yes, now Nate is the bad guy, and now we see it, and now we're willing to vilify him. But how much are you willing to go back and take culpability in not acting when you could have earlier on and taken him down a different road?
It's I would almost even say, I think it was even before Roy, when he got all that praise for making that play on Twitter.
Yes.
And then people started like
calling him Nate the Great, and like,
so he got a big head there, but then he was so focused on like, you can get 100 good tweets and then one bad tweet,
one.
Like,
Which he didn't, nobody saw that. And like he never said anything about it.
Yeah.
But there's room, and who knows, like it's still just a TV show.
But you saw the way he was. So I'm going to say, and this is not like, I'm not smarter than anybody, but I'm just,
I say you are rather emotionally intelligent.
So I saw with the tweets and then the way he was treating the other trainer. And I was like, he's kind of like,
Beard saw it, and Beard didn't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Beard could have, and he could have told Ted, like, there's so many points. So go ahead. Yes.
And so when I saw the thing with Roy, when Roy came on, he made that look. And I even said to Meg, I was like, I think Nate feels like he's getting pushed out. And she's like, you think so? I was like, I think Nate's going to turn. Like, I think Nate's going to take another coaching job somewhere.
Yeah.
I said, I think Nate thinks he's better than where he is. And he's better than he's being treated. He feels like he's getting pushed out. She goes, no, like they wouldn't do that. And I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I even said to her, I was like, the thing about this season is like, it's so easy to pull, like Rupert in the first season was like the guy that you were like rooting against, right?
Yeah.
And then he popped up here and there, but he wasn't really part of this season.
Yeah.
I was like, so there really hasn't been
a villain. And
I was like, and I said to her, I was like, Nate's becoming the villain. She's like, no. I was like, all right. I think he might be,
but unnecessarily so. And I think that's the commentary. That's the meta or the sub commentary of it, which makes them such a good show and good writers, is that like Ted's not absolved of this responsibility. Like he is part of it, that he doesn't dig too deep, that he doesn't, he tries to stay surface and everything's good and happy and stuff. And he needs to be a little bit more vulnerable and realize like, no, you're allowed to be sad. Like you need to sit in that sadness a little bit too. So anyway, it's really good. I don't know how we got down that tandem or that tangent.
I feel like we talk about that. Like, I feel like we can talk about like Nate's progression.
Oh my God.
This is so good. But it's like, you're pissed at him, but also like, I get it, Nate. I get it. Like, I feel you, dude. I feel you. 100%.
And he'll have to learn, he'll learn that path never leads to success. Like even if you win, you're not going to win because you're going to be alone. And we don't do this to be alone.
Jamie figured that out.
Yes, he did.
But Lily, Lily's why is like a
team. That's how we did team and the coach.
Team and the coach. That's what we got. So
well, welcome to the team, Lily, and you are an awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
And the fact that funny story. So Drew knew of her from swimming, master swimming. She was always in the other side lane, the fast lane, as he calls it. And it's funny. And I thought Lily was a swimmer to begin with because she's such a good swimmer. And I was like, oh, so she hates swimming. She swims because she swam in water polo, right? Like
water polo.
I say that I'm speaking for her. I don't know if she hates swimming, but water polo players hate swimming, but they know that they have to swim to be okay, to maintain proficiency in their sport or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's a means to an end. But like Drew was like, oh, she's an amazing swimmer. Da, 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 da. And I was like, oh, so you really like swimming? And I remember her saying, nah, I don't really like it.
Yeah. You know what's funny though is like knowing, because I don't think I knew she was a water polo player. So if you just told me she was a swimmer, I'd be like, it's pretty athletic for a swimmer. Oh, right. She's like diverse. Swimmers and rowers and runners. I'm like,
don't throw balls. Don't throw balls or require them to move in like any sort of lateral direction with like any sort of agility or coordination. Mel McCamley, right? Like throw a ball at Mel McCamley and it will hit her in the face every single time. She'll be like, God dang it, I'm a swimmer. Don't throw things at me.
So I would have been surprised to find out that she was only a swimmer. I was like, there's some athleticism there. Water polo makes sense.
So we were doing a warm up one time at Old Bay. It's like early on, just in Mel, and like it was the one where you throw it up between the rig. You remember? And like, you throw it and do like relay style.
Oh my God. How many times she hit the pull-up bar?
No, so she'd hit the pull-up bar and then it would bounce back and hit her in the face like multiple times to the point where I think she like almost got a bloody nose. And I was like, you're done. No more throwing for you.
Between her and Ryan Blanc, no games. No throwing things.
Oh, and Andrew Chess. Oh, yeah. Andrew, it is the warm-up. It is not real. It is not a game. Stop hitting people.
He's like, we used to do this all the time in wrestling. Like, did you guys slap each other?
Freaking rugby players. Him and Shandy playing that damn frisbee game, ultimate frisbee or like dodgeball in warm up. I'm like, no. You guys, you're on the rower, you're on the erg for 15 minutes. Don't play that game.
Oh my God, those guys. Cool. I think we got. What time is it? 46. We got time for one more.
One more. Yeah.
Cool.
Sure.
Joe Leonard, who made it a point to tell me when he sent me this.
He texted it to you, then he emailed you, and then he called you and left you a voicemail. And then he DM'd you.
Where is he? He sent me this and he said, so I asked people, I was like, hey, if you try to get it to me by like 8 p.m., that'd be awesome. And he sent it to me at 9:45. Sorry it's late, but I'm in Mississippi having barbecue. And then he sent me the picture of the shed. He's at the shed. And he sent me, this is the first time watching the video. What are we looking at here?
This makes great radio.
You just
it's just like a panoramic of the layout.
Yeah, he could have done a panoramic picture. I guess he doesn't know
that he can do that. Yeah, but there's a video aspect to it. You can hear the birds. God, it looks beautiful down there.
Yeah,
it's like the panhandle.
He could. I mean, that little commentary would have been nice. It just feels creepy now.
Yeah,
we're just creeping me out now, Joe.
Yeah,
but yeah. So Joe sent us.
That's his Mississippi name.
Jed.
When Joe passes south of North Carolina, he becomes Jed.
Joe, I had no idea what CrossFit was until I ran into the O'Neills, who introduced me to the box. That had to hurt.
The Sam's parking lot.
When he ran into the O'Neills,
they hit him with their cart. Yeah.
John's
a little aggressive when it comes to shopping. Don't get in his way.
I've seen it. I haven't seen it. I was in poor health and needed a program to get me moving. And when I did the first WOD at Fairwinds, I was hooked. As I began to understand the CrossFit methodology after reading Fire Breathers, Jack recommended,
Good book.
and the more I was welcomed and encouraged by the folk in the community, I never looked back. The variety of challenging workouts and the feeling of success.
It's actually learning to breathe fire. That's okay.
Yes, the feeling of success with the class makes me come back every day. What's crazy is I'm still learning and challenging myself every day. It's the folks in the box that make it the best hour of my day every day and keeps me coming back. I'm so thankful for everyone and how they've affected and changed my life. I think that's it. Nice.
So there's a theme here, the theme of, right, it's about the people, it's about the
Yeah.
relationships, it's about the experience. That's always the dilemma. How do you quantify that?
Yeah.
Then how do I, because you can't sell community.
Mhm.
You can't sell.
I've actually asked all these people, I was like, can you go and just like copy and paste that into a Google review? That'd be great. That would be great.
But even then, like, everybody's going to say that about their box.
Right?
Do you know, like, that's the whole point, right? Like, nobody says my tribe sucks, I got to get out of this. Because if they did,
They
guess
were,
what?
they'd probably
You're not
get
in
out.
that tribe anymore. Like,
Yeah.
that's the whole point. And so that is what that tells me, is then what we are doing on the quantifiable side is working.
Mhm.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that he has decided to stay for 2+ years at this point,
Yeah.
that he has options and goes somewhere else, and he doesn't. And that when we make decisions to do certain things that maybe require a little bit of trust, or they're all in, he's all in. And so that, and that the people that come in fit and match and feel similar to him, that, you know, Lily, who's been at it 4 months, says something very similar to Joe, who's been at it for 2 years here, but she's been at it for 10 years in CrossFit, and that we fit the same model
Yeah.
that has worked for her in the past. Like, that tells me then that the things that I can quantify, the price point, the systems, the structure, the blah, 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 all the things on the behind the scenes back end
Yeah.
are working.
Yeah.
It also, that type of feedback, Joe, helps. And why that, for me, why that is a useful why to know, is that when we make a decision around something that seems mundane, like, hey, we're going to switch our programming, we let people know that the transparency of decisions is not broadcasted, but is broadcasted, and not even vetted, because it's not a majority, it's not a democracy.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you don't have a vote, but we want to hear how things are going.
Yeah.
Because knowing that
Helps us
right,
make an informed decision.
exactly, because
Yeah.
my job, your job, is to make decisions that protect that feeling that he just expressed as the why he continues to come here.
Mhm.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
It'd be like if we ran a barbecue joint and we always sourced our meat from somewhere, and then we changed it without letting anybody know, and then all of a sudden the brisket was dry. And like, what happened? And be like, yeah, we changed the fucking meat. Like, the other guys just got too expensive, whatever. And they're like, well, I would have paid, $3 more a plate
Right.
if it meant keeping that meat. Like,
Yeah.
why didn't you tell me that? You never
You
asked.
didn't ask.
Right. So that's sort of the, like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Early, often, and effective communication with your tribe. That's important.
Yields good
Yeah.
results.
So
Yeah.
even like your instinct of asking this type of thing, like, this is really helpful. It starts to have thematic threads,
Yeah.
but everyone's is a little bit different.
Yeah.
Because of backstory and where they are. And
I think it's
yeah.
cool too when you look at just the three we went over, Ed, Lily, and Joe, like they're all coming from fairly different places, from like a fitness background or a life background,
Yeah.
or like where they
We
are.
hit kind of the 3 age groups too.
Right. And it's like, and so it's cool because it's, there's the workout on the board, but we can make it.
That's a testament to
One
Ed's
size fit all.
observation. The methodology works. That's not us.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, that's Glassman's.
What do they know? It's us.
Yeah. that it is infinitely scalable, and the needs of your Olympic athlete and your 90-year-old grandmother, great grandmother, are the same. God dang, I just screwed it up.
Yeah.
What is
It's,
it?
yeah.
The
It's,
needs are the same. God God, not the intensity, but dang it.
Yeah, it's the
You know what I'm talking about. I can't think of the
I forget
quote.
what it is. Yeah, I know, but yeah, the needs are the same, but how you get them is different essentially.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a much.
I'll turn in I'll send my level 2 back.
There goes
Send it. Yeah, there's all right. Yeah.
Another year for that level.
Take off that fairway, take off the CrossFit. You know.
Now we're just community fitness.
Yeah. Just creek fit with a capital C and a capital F.
Crack fit.
Little trademark
Anyway.
infringement.
Yeah, we'll just keep going until they tell us we can't do it anymore. What are you gonna do? So awesome. Well, yeah, that's a good one to end on.
Yeah.
Good one to end on. Awesome.
Cool.
Yeah, we got a few more of those. So yeah, if you got more, send them to us. But we got more to go. And
What did you think? Did you
awesome.
listen to any of the pumpkin jokes last week?
I didn't even listen to it yet. I
Right.
had it on the car, and then Fiona wanted to listen to
You hear
Nightmare
why
Before
the
Christmas.
pumpkin changed its way to work? Changed how it drove to work, the route that it took? Or why did the pumpkin use GPS on its way to work?
I don't know.
To avoid the seedy parts of town.
Ah, yes. Oh, what's the one? The story about why didn't the pumpkin want to get carved? Was it something like that?
No, what did the
Or what was it?
pumpkin? What did the pumpkin say to its carver when it hit a soft spot?
What?
Cut it out.
And there was something, but there was another one. It was about like didn't have the guts.
Oh, why was the pumpkin afraid to go out? Why was the jack-o'-lantern afraid to go out at night?
That's right.
He didn't have any guts.
Didn't have any guts. That's a good one.
And I changed the one about how did the CrossFitting pumpkin fix her ripped hands after pull-ups?
Oh,
Pumpkin patch.
pumpkin patch. Oh, those are good.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Which, quick reminder, if you're listening, speaking of pumpkins and Halloween, tomorrow, Saturday. So when you listen to this on Friday. Great workout too. Great workout. 1 mile run, 1 mile test.
I saw that and I was like, should I change it? I'm like, nope.
Perfect.
Because I trust the class plan. I haven't even looked at it yet, but
Yeah.
in the summary video, Hobart talks about like talk it up. Don't let people skip bench press and 1 mile run day. Like the class plans will have plenty to let people. Oh, by the way, if they've hit the rest of the week, like they're gonna embrace the shorter stimulus, the less than 10-minute effort on the 1 mile and blah 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 blah. So I was like, okay, I trust you, overlords. I will. Yes, sir. Coming, sir. I will do it, sir. And they've yet to disappoint.
If you're not running, bike row
totally.
sort of thing.
Yeah.
Easy.
I mean,
So
we had
that's
a mile and a half with the 800s. So
that's an easy one too, because if you're gonna come with a costume on Saturday,
yeah,
like again, functionality,
costume run.
like functionality is, I think, worthy of consideration when voting on costume contest.
I think I have an idea for a costume.
You won't do it. You can do
I'm coaching, so I have to do it. I mean,
that is a good point.
I'm totally. I think I have
So
the
excited.
stuff right now.
I know Sue, Juliana, I think all mentioned they were.
Yeah, I gotta.
It's
Maybe
fun.
I'll hit up Friday. I gotta hit up. Let's see what Goodwill has.
Yeah,
But I could probably get what I need just pretty cheaply anywhere.
yeah,
Yeah, I think I know
Nice.
what I'm gonna do.
cool. It's gonna
Yeah.
be fun. Oh, biker. Sorry, I don't know why that popped in my head. Super Troopers, when he met up with the girl at the restaurant, and she sits down, she's all in like leather and her hair is teased or whatever, and he shows up and he's like in an orange vest and a helmet, and he goes, "Oh, biker."
bar.
I'm an idiot. That's so good. Awesome. All right, cool.
Gratitude.
Oh, gratitude. You go first.
Mine is sort of like a big the haunted Halloween camping thing. Was sort of the overall grade. But I gotta tell you, Rob Snyder is my gratitude. I miss handsome Rob. I wish he still came. I understand why like this just wasn't fun for him. I'm happy we still get Allie. But watching him across the weekend, that dude like is the mayor of Tuckahoe.
Yeah.
From the Friday that he shows up until Sunday when we all leave. You're going to Tuckahoe today?
Yeah.
Which, by the way, you know about it, right?
Yeah.
Amy asked about it, asked if you knew, and I was like, because we both remembered seeing you there one year. Like you came, I think, for like a dinner, for like the Saturday dinner or something. I feel like you've come for a day. But she was like, why don't Eric and Meg come? And at first I was like, well, they do camp because you did ass fatigue, and you guys Fee would love it.
Oh yeah.
Like it is like freedom. She would roll with, there's a cohort of now like 4 and 5 year olds that are also a little free, like Luch's age. So there's you know what I mean? Like there's the next generation coming up, which, so you guys should totally do it. And then I'm like, yeah, they totally can camp because you guys camped. Yeah. Because at first I was like, oh God, that sounds like an absolute nightmare doing this.
No,
but you guys they're old enough now. So anyway, do it next year when Ali sends the dates. You should totally sign up and do it. It's a ton of fun. It's totally worth it.
Well, I've never been. It's always looked like fun. I've never been asked. And one day I'm like, how do I get asked?
So and like I didn't even think we know. Like there was sort of that like you never get asked. You just kind of like the kids hear about it.
Right.
You're like, why don't we go? I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't.
Well, I mean, I didn't know because we don't camp and we sold the RV. So,
yeah.
But now it was awesome. Like, so I went Thursday, come back to the gratitude. Rob shows up Friday afternoon. The first thing he does is he gets on the bike and he just does the loop. He checks on everybody who's set up. Hey, how you doing? Welcome. So Mayor Rob makes his loop and then sets up the big camp kitchen. And then like the whole time, and he's like, he mans the fire all day. And like, then he does the donuts on Saturday and Sunday morning. And like, I mean, seriously, it is awesome. Sometimes like last year, he took me and a bunch of people, we went shooting. We went skeet shooting. I don't think he went this year or whatever. And he is it. There's other people I'm sure that like make him, but from my perspective, he makes that weekend so much fun and so flexible for everybody to get out of it what they want. And it was awesome. Yeah. So thanks, Rob. You're freaking awesome. So much freaking fun. Awesome. And I hope he keeps doing it because, well, it's not like he does it, but I hope he keeps getting out of it what he needs because it would be different if he wasn't there. And
Rob is just there's just something he has that
awesome.
He has that like intangible that just like you want to be around him as much as you can.
Yes.
And you don't know why.
Because
outside of him being just very handsome.
And he must be having a bit of a man.
I don't know what it is, but
and he can do really cool things, and he can do ratchet straps like a ninja, and he can shoot really well, and and he hauls really a lot of dirt around. You know what I mean? Like he can drive really cool big
so what you're saying is it really sounds like he could probably, if you needed to hide a body, call Rob.
Yep. Disclaimer, we do not think that Rob Snyder has ever hid a body or killed anyone that we know of.
If he wanted to, he could, and no one would ever know.
It's a metaphor. It's a
metaphor.
Your Honor, it was a metaphor.
So I'll say that mine is like anyone that ever has some sort of like injury, whether it happened in the gym or not, it still comes. So like Joe's been in the boot for a couple of weeks after he rolled his ankle. Matty broke his wrist playing hockey. Matt Larson, who comes 6'15", he cut his heel.
Oh, he did?
He cut his heel doing something, and so it's been pretty nasty. But it's been
like
limiting.
That he's found 6'15" as his place. Good deal.
And so what I just love is like they come in and they have this thing depending on the severity or whatever, but it could easily be something like, well, I can't do this day, so I'm not going to show up. And they come and we figure it out and then they go for it. And so anyone that just, you can't use injury as an excuse, not
say a reason or a thing, an obstacle to say, oh, this is too hard.
I'm not going to do this. I can't. I obviously can't. Oh, I have like Matt with his. It's funny, like because he couldn't even back squat because he really couldn't even do anything with that hand, and it's
good because that's what the doctor told him to do, not use the arm.
Like he is
Matthew.
Like he is smart. He said doctor said I shouldn't. He said even when he just like does anything, it hurts. So it's like cool, your arm doesn't exist. And he just goes with the flow. And I think it's, it feels like a lot of the same thing, but he just, hey, he's like, whatever, I'm showing up. And Kate, same thing. Her shoulders bothering her again.
She's been, girl.
And it's it's one of those things. It's like, the cortisone wore off and it's like, all right, well, she's like, this is my life now. And, but she rolls with it. She's one of the wise I got too. But anyway, so I appreciate people that just, they don't hang it up and say, I'm not going to be able to do this. They come and whatever they can do.
They're curious about how they can keep moving.
Yep. And so that's my gratitude right there.
Good one, bud.
Cool.
That's a really good one.
Awesome.
This is fun. We still got a lot to go through.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. Let's keep it rolling. All right. Cool.
All right, folks.
I guess we'll
have a great weekend. We'll see you on Saturday. Spooky Saturday.
So spooky Saturday spectacular. I'm doing the spectacular. I
Spectacular.
needed a fourth one.
Yeah. Well done.
So spooky Saturday spectacular.
Saturday spectacular.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome.
I'm so glad. That'll be next week's, maybe. No, because it would be this week's. My addendum of gratitude is for Soph saying something at the meeting that one day of like, she doesn't sound like that at all. But Halloween is her family's favorite holiday, and that she's like, can we do something? And me saying like, sure, I'm going to do absolutely nothing.
I'm coaching, so
it's all you. I will make sure that the class is done in plenty of time, but whatever you want to do, you have to do it.
It's funny. It's like I didn't want to do anything, but I was like, she seems so excited about it. I was like, I want to do something.
That's because you are an amazing human being who is awesome.
Oh, shucks.
And I'm dark and cold and dead inside.
No, but it's working.
I'm the Bateman to your Sean Hayes, and we need an Arnett, or maybe you're the Arnett and I'm the Bateman, and we need a Hayes. I don't know.
Perfect.
Smart List, by the way, wonderful podcast. Highly recommend it.
Awesome. All right.
We'll see you
on the creek.